right, we're live. We are live. Hello, everyone. I'm really hot. So, funny story. It's really hot out, and I was just outside for a while, which I try not to do right before the live stream because then I'm going to be hot the whole time in the live stream. But time ran out, so we had to be here for you guys at 3. So, if you're in the chat and you can chat, please let us know who you are and where you're from. Let us know if this is your first time in the live stream or what you're into or something. Let us know something about yourself and the other chatters, of course. And if it's not your first time, everybody should tell the last cool thing they made or something. That'd be kind of fun. How many we got in the chat?
We have 21.
21. Nice. So welcome, everyone. Is it 3? Can we get started?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. I'm Chad from Turner's Warehouse, and Amy is moderating behind the computer there. So if you're chatting, she'll chat with you and answer questions if she can, or if not, she'll read questions to me so I can answer them here live, and it's kind of fun. It's been a busy couple of days. We've whew, not that busy like in the store or anything or online, but we're prepping for SWAT. So next week we're going to SWAT in Waco, Texas, and we had to prep everything to take for it, as well as I'm doing a demonstration. So I had to prep all that stuff. So it's been a lot of work for something that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to be pretty exciting. So if you're going to SWAT, you got to absolutely stop by and say hello at our booth. We're going to be in the big hall next to the stainless bottle stoppers guys. We're going to have at our booth, it's going to be pretty awesome, I think. We're going to have obviously stuff for sale, but then we're going to have a lathe set up for turning demos. We're just going to have fun turning stuff. And we're going to have Mike from Record Power. He's a world-class carver, seriously, legit carver. He's going to be carving on bowls at our booth, and there'll be certain times where you can come check him out. So if you live in the Waco area or if you're going to SWAT, come say hello. If not, we'll probably post a lot of cool little pics and videos. We tried to last time, but we were just busy the whole time. But there's 3 of us going, so we're going to make it happen this time. We'll get you guys some cool pictures and videos. But really cool event. And then a couple weeks after that, we'll be in Ohio for the Mid-Ohio Pen Turners Gathering. West Virginia. It's on the border. West Virginia, whatever. It's Moptg Mid-Ohio Valley. MOVPTG.com. Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering. And I guess because I'm not from there, I don't know what Mid-Ohio Valley means, but it must just be an area. So if you're going to the Pen Turners Gathering, let us know if you're going to that. That's going to be a lot of fun too. And Amy and I are going to that.
It looks like a fair amount of people are going to be at SWAT, which
Oh,
is super cool.
Nice. It'll be fun. Hey, if you're coming to SWAT, bring cool pens you've made. In the past, a few people have done that, but a lot of people are like, oh, I should have brought some. But bring some cool stuff so we can check it out. I love seeing cool pens. And I'll bring a few too. How about that? But if I don't ask, show them to me. I always forget because we get caught up in the busyness. But yeah, if you're coming, bring some cool stuff you've made. What are you laughing at? That I don't ask?
Chat. No, Myra's long time caller, first time listener.
Long time. First time, long time, Myra. First time, long time. Yeah, so SWAT's going to be a lot of fun. I have a love-hate relationship with these events, and I always tell everyone, I hate prepping for them. I hate traveling, but I love it when I'm there at the event, and then I hate traveling home, and then I hate putting all the stuff away. So it's really so fun at these events. It's worth it, of course, but man, it's so much work from a vendor side. So much work and expense. So much expense. But
hopefully we won't pack a lot of stuff back.
Yeah. If enough people show up, we won't bring a lot back, and that's good. And we're not taking everything. Obviously, that'd be pretty tough. We have a lot of stuff in our store, but we're taking some cool stuff. So anyway, that was enough of that. Let's get talking. hopefully you guys, if you're repeat viewers, you've watched some of the last few. We've been in the room here working on stuff that's indoors. I haven't been doing a lot of lathe work because it's so hot out there. I can turn, but I can't really turn and talk because I got to have a bunch of fans going and swamp cooler, and it's just a noisy mess for recording. So I kind of feel like maybe the weather's breaking a little here. It's only like 110 today. So maybe in the next month or so, we'll be able to get back on the lathe. But hopefully in the meantime, you've been learning a lot of cool stuff. I know a few people have come in the store and have said, hey, I tried this, and or I want to try it or whatever. So let us know if it's proving valuable so we can keep doing stuff. And I'm trying to show you guys good stuff. So I'm not just like doing filler that you're like, well, that's stupid. Hopefully this is good stuff because it's stuff that I've used over and over the years. And today is no exception. Today actually is pretty cool. I wish I had more time to do more of this stuff. But this is a pretty fun project today. So, did I miss anything else?
It's cool that you're doing it now, though.
Yeah. Don't forget, I didn't mention the ornament contest. The ornament contest started. You have until like November to turn in your ornament, but please don't wait till the end. Check out all the rules at the top of the Turner's Warehouse page under info. It'll say info or ornament or something like that. But if you have any questions, email us. But all the info's there, so you shouldn't have any questions. And the entry forms are there. So hopefully we can raise a lot of money for St. Jude. What were you going to say? Did I miss something?
No, I was going to say, I don't remember what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, we will get started. So today we're going to be talking about inlay in stuff. And I say stuff because I would love to show you this on a pen, but it would be really hard to see on a round tube, you know, even zoomed in. So what I did was I prepped some flat stuff, and these are all stuff I do on a pen, like this sea turtle. And the reason it looks a little wonky is because it's made to wrap around a tube, but it's going to be a lot easier for you to see this way. So first I want to show you a couple things. One is this lightning bolt. Now, it might be real hard to see, and it's actually not sanded or anything, so it's kind of ugly on the wood side, but pay attention to the lightning bolt. This sits in our store, and everyone comes in and says, hey, that's that Leichenberg, or what's it called? Leichenberg? Something, I don't know. Where they shock the wood and burn it. Well, if you see, on one, hear me? If you see, it looks kind of like that, like it crawled across the board. But this is done on the laser. I won't ever mess with that thing because I guess if you do it wrong, you can kill yourself, like shock yourself. And somebody in our area a few years back on Christmas Day died from it. So I'm not interested in having cool enough lightning to play with that. And if you want to, that's your deal, but I wouldn't. But anyway, a laser can do something similar, and this looks really cool, and it's really controlled. And what's cool about the laser to me is, or maybe not cool, depending on how you look at it, you can kind of repeat the pattern. So if you get something you really like, you can do it again. Whereas that random thing, it's random. So that's kind of cool, but it's also not cool if you wanted to repeat it. So give and take, whatever. But what you'll notice back here under the close-up, if I can get it to look right, is it's not just one color. And you'll notice also that there's like red tips and red mixed into it, and then it's like blue and green. This really reminds me of like Native American like turquoise look with the cool color patterns and stuff in the colors. But then the lightning, you know, you can do whatever pattern you want. Now the downside is you have to have a laser or know someone with a laser, but nowadays, that's probably not that big a deal. There's lasers everywhere. Like everyone seems to have one. Or they're like at community centers or like shared workspaces. They all have lasers, multiples. So, I mean, you can find a laser probably pretty easy if you look around. But you can do this on a pen. And I've got one here. And I don't have a lot of pens laying around that are engraved. But this is the deer skull. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong direction. So that might be upside down. I don't know.
No, you're good.
Am I good? Mm-hmm. And so this is what it looks like flat. but then that's it wrapped around. Now, it's cool on its own, and I, over the years I've sold a lot of these deer skulls. Just having a deer skull on a bolt action is pretty cool, and it works out pretty good. But you can do a lot with the stone inlay to make this look a lot cooler. Now this one, the reason I'm showing you this one is I was engraving these different things today. We got a couple different things, and this one I didn't engrave deep enough. So the engraving is probably like, boy, I don't even know, a fraction of a millimeter deep. So it wouldn't be deep enough to put any fill in there and then not have it stick up. So when you do this, you have to have enough depth in whatever you're engraving, whether it be a line like this or a hole like this or these big parts. You have to have enough to room to fill it. So that's why this one is a no-go. But I did want to show you. So if you're gonna laser or have someone laser, just know that there's a lot of trial and error for the way it looks on a tube and the depth you need to make it look good, because it might look good and then you go to fill it and there's just no room like in this crack. So this outline I went over twice, and that gives me a good depth for what we're going to do here. But I've actually got two of these because I want to do one and then kind of compare the look. And then we're going to do some text, a Turner's logo, of course. Boy, I'm way off.
Yeah, you gotta scoot over a little too.
I'm way off here. Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so it's because I'm sitting in a weird spot, I guess. So we're going to do some text, and then we'll try this lightning bolt. Same thing, I may not have gone deep enough. And then always a standard for me, whenever I did shows in the Southwest, Cocopelli. People love Cocopellis, and they look really cool. So when you fill them in, they look good. So let's just start one of these and kind of see what we're doing. And I'm going to tell you, like many things here, I'm going to tell you the way I do it, and I'm going to show you some stuff, but then you do whatever works for you. Amy, will you grab me a piece of paper? Mm-hmm. Just like a white piece of paper.
You want to stay on two or what?
Stay on the overhead. All right, so Amy's going to grab me a piece of paper because one thing I don't like to do is waste materials. And what I'm going to use today is a variety of stones. Now, if you order stones from us, the crushed stones come like this. These are 20-gram tubes. These are large. You can do 1 million projects with these. And we have them in 3 different grains. Now, this is important for the fill purposes. Oh, just one. Thank you. This is important for the fill purposes because the larger the grain, the less, the smaller the line it won't fit in. So we have it in powder, small grain, and large grain. And I like to use the largest grain possible that'll fit in where I'm putting it. So if it's a real thin line and I have to use powder, that's fine. But if it's something bigger, like this part of the shell, I want to use the biggest grain I can because then it looks better. Powder tends to look more like a solid line, whereas larger grain stuff tends to look like stones. So if I had done this lightning with all powder, let me see if I can focus it. If I had done it with all powder, you wouldn't be able to see all those little stone pieces in there. And that's the whole coolness, is that it looks like a bunch of inlaid stones. And it looks like I spent hours kind of piecing all this together. And I think once I show you how I do it, you're going to be like, what? At least I always am.
Quick question.
Quick question. Go ahead.
Could you paint the burn so it got a dark... Wait. Could you paint the burn beforehand so it would have a dark background, say maybe a yellow behind the red stones, for example?
Yeah, so the question is, could you paint the background here? Yeah, you could paint it anything you want to change, just kind of like when we do ring inlays, like the background will change the look of the stone. So you could paint this with anything you want because you are going to sand and get rid of all this surface anyway, and you're going to get it back to the bare wood. So even if you got paint all around it, it doesn't matter because you're going to sand it off. Now, that brings up a good point. Before you do any painting or any stonework, you want to seal this off. Now, I sealed this with a lacquer, like a spray lacquer. You could use any kind of good sealer. This is just plywood here. So it's a little more porous than, say, like this was cherry. So the cherry works a lot better. It's a lot more dense and less grainy. The plywood is obviously going to be a little, you know, less responsive. But I just gave it a quick spray with lacquer. Should be good. So let's get into some stones. So I'm going to use a couple of different stones here. And obviously this is a sea turtle. You can get laser files for anything you want. You can draw them. You can buy them for like 99 cents online. You can download them for free off of like groups. There's a million things where you can get laser files. Just make sure you do it legally and ethically. But let's talk about stones. So the main thing, and you guys saw in the picture, is we're going to talk about some glows. So we've got these new glow stones. And why these are cool, if I can show you. These are like nuggets. So maybe you can see in there. They're not powder, which is like this stuff. Just pure powder. I think that's powder. Glow. Uh-oh. I just grabbed maybe mica. Maybe it's not glow. Well, we'll find out here in a minute. We're going to turn off the light. So anyway, if it's not glow, it's mica, but that's what it looks like anyway. It's just like a powder versus the nuggets. I wanted nuggets for rings, for these bigger inlays, so that way it doesn't just look like a solid fill of color. It actually looks like a cool stone. So we've got that. The nuggets come in 3 different colors. There's green, blue, and aqua. And Amy, you want to hit the light here, and we'll see if these. Let's see if these glow for us. Oh, here we go. It's hard to see in here. Here, turn that back on.
Go forward a little bit.
Forward.
There you go.
So if you set these out in the sun or use a UV light, you can charge them. But there's the colors. That's the aqua, the blue, and the green. They look really cool. And like I said, they're nuggets versus just the powder. Okay, light. So that other one, that was mica. So I thought I brought glow powder, but I wasn't going to use glow powder anyway. I'm not a fan of glow powder because it tends to get everywhere. And it just looks like you dumped glow plastic into it, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But we're going to use some blue or some turquoise here. I got some crushed turquoise. This is small sand turquoise. And actually there's some red nuggets in there because probably last time I was doing it, I mixed it up. And what I like to do is put a piece of paper under it. That way if I do spill over, I can kind of pour it in. But let me show you something cool since we got our paper here now before we get started. What's kind of nice about this stuff is you can kind of test your lines, right? So I've got the outline, I've got the little holes on the legs, and then I've got the big shell parts. I can kind of test how it's going to look by sprinkling a little on there and rubbing it in. And what it's going to do is it's going to fall into the holes that it fits. So you should be able to see here that there's a little bit of stone here, but most of this didn't fill in. But then obviously the big shell part and the little circles on the legs did fill in. And I can just kind of brush it all off and see where it stayed. So that kind of gives you an idea of how it's going to fill. Now, this isn't good enough to do. I don't want to do this size. So what I'm going to do is do the big part first, and then I'll come back to the outside. But I'm not going to necessarily do all this color like this. I can just dump it out. And it mostly comes out pretty easy. And kind of save my color here. Now, you'd want to make sure you didn't have any other stones mixed in there, but since mine were already mixed, it didn't matter. But let me find a more powdery.
Hey, we got Jim in the chat.
Jim.
Yeah, who's a chip carver, and he's been looking forward to this because
Oh, cool.
he wants to do inlay on some of his carvings.
Oh, that's cool. Welcome, Jim. I know a carver. A couple carvers, actually.
I was telling them in the chat that, like, we were talking about carving, but we're like, we're not good enough at carving for this.
Yeah, Amy's been doing some carving, so that's pretty cool. But yeah.
There's
Yep.
also some chatter in the chat about sealing the wood
Yeah.
before or after burning it with the laser.
Yep.
And then we got a question about where did you say that you can download files from? I said Etsy, but were there others?
Well, so yeah, a couple questions. So where you can get files, there's a lot of Facebook groups that share files that each other makes, so you can check out that. Etsy's a great place to get it, as long as you get it from the original person, because a lot of those people are selling stolen files, so you don't want to participate in that. But what I was gonna say is probably Etsy's good, because you can get, like, if you wanted like sea turtles, you could probably find somebody selling a sea turtle file with a bunch of different sea turtles for like 99 cents. So honestly, a lot of times I could draw a file, but if it's 99 cents, I'm probably just gonna buy it rather than spend the time making it, because it might be a lot faster. So you can kind of figure out what works for you for that, and that should be good. Anyway, so and then was there a question about sealing? Because I talked about that a little bit.
A little bit. I think maybe I missed it, and I just see people
Oh,
talking
okay.
about it in the chat. Somebody was saying that.
Yeah. So you want to seal your wood before you do either the painting or the inlay. And I just use like a spray lacquer, but you can use whatever you've got. You could use an acrylic or something. Whatever works will be fine. And that's going to do two things. One, it's going to help, if you do paint it, it's going to help any bleed or wicking into the wood, because a lot of times you'll want to paint the outline here, and if you put paint in it, it'll wick into the grains or to the wood, and it just looks terrible. I'm telling you, if you ever do that, just throw it away, because you're going to hate it the whole time. But by spraying the def or some kind of sealer on it, you could even use like a sanding sealer, you'll keep that to a minimum. So it could still happen, but probably not as much. So let's try a tiny bit of red. Oops, I dumped it all over. And I just want to see if this red is small enough grain to get in the edges. And actually, that's pretty good. And you can see I'm just kind of rolling it around. And it really lets you kind of preview what you're going to do before you start doing it. So this leg, you might be able to see, looks a little hazy because there's dust from the stone. But you can see the leg kind of filled in pretty nice. So I don't necessarily want the red leg. Oh, and it'd be good to have a compressor around, but I don't.
Can you move forward a little bit?
Oh, yep. So I'm just knocking loose any of the bigger stones that I pressed in there. So we're just kind of testing it out here to see what we want to do. And actually, like with a little, convincing, I could probably get the turquoise down in there. So if we want to do that, we can do that. Now, what do you guys think? Should we do like a turquoise and glow, or Amy, will you see if Carrie will bring a turquoise powder over of the crushed stone?
Also, update the palette for SWAT just went out.
All right, our SWAT palette just left, so now we just got to get ourselves there, which should be the easy part, right? Okay, so what if we did, what do you guys think? What if we did like glow in the little dots right here and here, and then we did some glowstone in the shell, and then we do like a blue turquoise powder in the outline? That sounds kind of cool, don't you think? Anyone agree with that? We'll do this.
Yeah.
Aqua.
We have a vote for turquoise and glow.
I'm gonna do the aqua. It's like a nice bluish. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is a couple things. I'm gonna just kind of get these piled up a little bit in here. Now, the one thing to remember is these are little nuggets, so you can see, maybe you can see. I always say that, but I don't know if you can actually see. But you can see they're like kind of not filling the whole space. And that's because there's they're, you know, little nugget size. I think these were like 1 to 3 mil. Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. They were like 1 to 3 millimeter. So they're going to look good in there on top, but I think we need to put the little background of blue first. So we're going to dump those out. And we'll dump those in our... Whoa! Well, we're not going to dump those. I just lifted up the page and dumped them all over. We got a few back. I'm kind of making a mess here, but that's all right. So,
Making a mess is part of the fun.
Part of the fun. Now, we can do this a couple ways. We can either put a little resin in there and then put our powder in, or we can just put our powder on and then come back with the resin. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I put the powder over here because I don't want to get these holes, which is probably going to be hard not to. So we'll just see how it goes. But I want to get mostly the edge.
How would it be different if you were trying to apply it to a pen? Or
Oh,
can you talk about that?
Yeah, good question. So how it would be different if I was doing a pen is obviously it would be round. So you would have to just work in stages. And it's really no different than exactly what I'm doing, but you would just do less at a time. So I can essentially kind of make this whole thing and like keep working on it and working on it. Whereas on a pen, I would just be doing like one part of it because I'd have to rotate it. And obviously if I rotated it and all these little stones were in there, then they're going to all fall out, right? So I'm letting some stones get into the shell part, and that's okay because we're going to put some in there anyway. But you can kind of see I'm like brushing it all, and there's not a lot of like debris on top here. So I can put another little dab. I'm going to put the lid on this so I don't spill it because it's very tall. So pens, I'm telling you, pens with this stuff look great. I do this sea turtle, and I've done a humpback whale a bunch of times. And I don't know if I ever sold the humpback. I know I've traded it for a bunch of stuff over the years. People like humpbacks. So sea creatures are definitely a good topic that people like. And they have good colors. So like, you know, greens and blues will look cool with a sea turtle or a whale. So I can kind of see I got a little bit of lightness here. I'm going to actually just get some of this out because I got a lot in the bottom of these shell pieces. And I'm just going to kind of push it. Now, one thing also that you can do, and you can do it however you need, is you can either use UV resin or CA glue. Took me a minute there to think of it. I'm going to use UV because that's what we've got here. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit in the center. So I'm put one drop there. And one drop there. And I'm going to use those two drops to kind of redistribute some of this heavier stuff I've got. So looked like a lot there. And a lot over here. So we'll let that drop kind of settle down in there. And I'm in a room with no UV light. So the beauty of UV in this case, and most of the time I'm using it, is I have all the time to work with it that I want. If I was doing this with CA, I would be worried about the time and whether I was going to get it done or not. So as long as I'm happy with the outline, which it looks pretty good, I could probably make that line a little thicker. Does it look blue to you guys, the outline? I could probably make it a little thicker.
Yeah, thicker, a little bit. You could tell it's not black anymore, but
I think this might have been, one of them I did twice and one I only did once. Actually, I think this might have been the single, because this one looks a lot deeper. So we might do that one too to see how different it looks. But I'm going to put a little more UV in here because we will need more. So that's 2 drops in each now. And I'm dipping my pick into the UV, and then I'm just using it to pick up some of the turquoise that are in these smaller holes that I want to put glow in, because they fill up really fast once. But you know, honestly, if they just stayed turquoise, it would look good. So, all right. Now I think we've got a nice background here of what the color will look like. This one looks a little full. What I'm trying to eyeball here, and it's tough to show you on camera, is I'm trying to get these little wells of space flat, as well as not full of the stone, because I want to put the UV stones in there. I'm sorry, the glow stones. And if I have them too full, I won't have a room for them because they're kind of big. So I think that'll kind of get us going here. Looks pretty good. And I'm just rolling that in the UV resin, and that takes all my stones off of my pick. All right, well, let's give it a try. So I'm just going to dump a few of these stones into the cap, because I don't want to waste any. And if you're looking for these stones, they're new on the website, and a 10 gram is $10, and I think you could do a ton of stuff with 10 grams. What's up, Amy? So I'm just going to put these in here now.
I lost it now.
So
we were just talking about how chip carving would be so cool with this kind of inlay.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, carving would be great with this. And not only carving, but like turning, you know, like if you had a bowl and you wanted to do a rim. I've done demos on that over the years, and I have a little piece we can try if we have time. So I'm just putting a little bit of resin into each of these holes, and it's going to kind of settle. It might take a minute. I might have to get it to run around. One thing about UV is it's thick, so if you cover a bunch of really fine powder or something like that with UV, it's gonna not necessarily break through it. So you got to be careful not to block the path of the flow of the UV, and also you can't block the path of the light to cure the UV. So you got to be careful on a couple fronts here when you're using that stuff. But if you've already gotten UV set up for like ring making and stuff, you're ready to go. So don't worry, it's all the same stuff. So I'm just picking up these stones by having a little bit of resin on my pick, and you can see the stones kind of stick to it, and then I can just set them in there. And when I push off in the resin, generally it adds enough resin to my pick to keep picking up the stones. So it works pretty darn good. That one jumped over. Put him in there. And this does take a little time, obviously, but anything good probably will. And the more time you spend placing these little stones in the right spots, the better your inlay will look. If you just dump the stones and dump glue on it, it might look all right, but I guarantee you somebody who places the stones in a little more meaningful way and like fits the pieces in there, it's going to look a lot better. Same with the rings. That's always the case. So you see this last one here, we've got a pretty good, yeah, see, even though I tried to, whenever you push on something, you got to kind of like swipe your way off so you don't pull them out, because they want to stick to everything. But what I can also do is add a tiny bit more resin, and that will seep down around the stones and kind of fall in there.
Charles is tuning in from Panguitch, Utah.
Charles from Utah?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Oh.
Hi,
Let's
Charles.
have a reunion.
Awesome.
I feel like you said that.
Hey, wait, Panguitch, that's that little town we liked.
Was it?
Yeah. Charles, you're from Panguitch? I didn't know that. Yeah, remember that little town we stopped at on the way to Salt Lake? It was like, we went into that little antique store and the lady was from Mesa.
Oh yeah, that totally was Penguich, huh?
Yeah, Penguich. We're familiar, Charles. We're familiar. You never know. We might have to open a Turner's Warehouse in Penguich and live in the mountains.
And quick question too, for people who missed the beginning, what laser did you use, or you used a laser to do the pattern, right?
Yeah, so the question was, did I use a laser for the pattern? I did. I lasered this. I just use I have a generic, like, I used to call it the eBay laser, but I didn't get this one off eBay. It's just a generic, like, Chinese laser. There's a million brands out there. We've even done some little reviews on the channel if you're looking for a little one, but I wouldn't actually, if I was making pens, I don't know, if I was going to buy a laser, a couple things. I'd make sure that I could get my money out of it, or that I just wanted to play with the laser enough that it was like okay if I didn't make my money back. Because if you buy a big one, they're kind of expensive. And I say expensive, and like the one I have is like maybe, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000, but it's for like industrial use. But you can get a nice, I think there's like X Tools, and even that little laser pecker we tried out. They're maybe around $1,000. And honestly, if you're making and selling pens or anything really, a laser should be an easy way to up your sales, because personalizing stuff is probably the best thing you can do to get people to buy your stuff more. So I wouldn't hesitate to get a laser, but I would kind of evaluate, you know, what I'm going to do with it.
That little laser pecker did a good job though, didn't it?
The laser pecker did a surprisingly good job. And it has a funny name. A couple people have told me they got laser peckers after that, and they really like them. So, I mean, it seemed good to me. And if I hadn't offered to give that away as a prize before I tried it, I probably would have kept it, because it was really handy because it was so small. And you could like take that to an event and personalize stuff. But I'm not trying to sell lasers. I'm just telling you, like, they're very handy and you can do a lot. Putting names on pens, I mean, you can charge an extra $10-15 and it takes you, 30 seconds.
Oh, Anne has a good point. Look for a maker space in your area to use the laser.
Yeah, makerspace is totally the way to go. That's a good point, Anne. Yeah, if I was going to do it, I'd probably do that instead of buying one, at least at first. And then if that didn't work out, or if I really just needed it so much that it'd be better to have it home, then I would do the home thing. But they take up space and they do cost a little bit, so.
Are there things to avoid when you're looking at lasers?
Are there things to avoid in the lasers? Boy, not that I know of. I mean, for the most part, there seems to be more good ones than bad ones right now. Make sure it uses good software. Like, I use a software called Lightburn, and it is so much better than the Chinese software that it initially came with that I couldn't go back. Now, the problem is, when I had my first laser, and I always called it my eBay laser because that's where I got it, I had 1 million files from the many years that I used it, that I had drawings and whatever else. And when I switched to Lightburn, and I switched not because I wanted to, although I'm glad I did now, I didn't know at the time. When I switched to Lightburn, none of those old files worked. And actually, it was worse than that. What happened was, it came with some terrible software, and I don't even remember the name of it. And I used it for like 8 years, and I had hundreds or maybe 1,000 files that I had created. And then one day the software updated. I didn't do it, it just auto-updated. And none of the old files worked with the update. So literally everything was gone. So I had to start over. So then that's when I was like, I'm not doing this again. I went and researched it, and everyone recommended Lightburn, and it was definitely better. So Lightburn is cool. It's good software, and it's really, really easy to use. If I can use it, anyone can. So what I think we'll do here, I'm going to just cure these
Can you scoot forward a little?
scales. I'm just curing the UV. What I think we should do is put a little more blue on here.
Somebody has a good point. You need a good way to vent fumes with a laser.
Yeah, lasers create smoke or fumes. So like that's a huge factor. You got to know that you have a way to get the exhaust outside. Like we have ducting that goes through our shop and then out the back door. Some people run it out a window or out the roof, whatever works, but you have to have venting. You would not be able to do it if you didn't have good venting. Like it would fill my shop with smoke in like 30 seconds if I didn't have good venting, if I was doing wood cutting. Okay.
And Myra has a We Create.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about those.
She says she really likes it. Anne works at a makerspace in California, and she says they have 4 different sizes of lasers.
Oh, cool.
So if you're near Oakland.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many cool spaces out there. Okay, so let's do this. Let's set this one aside and come over here because this, I think this is the one with the deeper channel. Let's try. Whoop, that was too much.
And people are just talking about how light burn is really great too.
Yeah, light burn is the way to go. It's real good. See, those are a little thin, so I actually wouldn't, I'd probably thicken up the wall, although you might be able to use something you want in there, but I'd probably thicken up the wall to make this a little more pronounced. It looks okay with the blue, but it's just not heavy enough. And on a pen, you got to imagine it's going to look smaller because there's going to be less of it at the time. Let's see here. Let's try. Okay, this lightning bolt should be a good example. So if we have, we'll turn it. Let's see if I got this stuff. Got a little mix going on in here, so I'm going to dump that. Okay, let's try. We're going to do this one a little different. Let's fill this. Now see, here's where you got to really look at your work. So this is a little lighter than the rest of the bolt, and it's because when the laser passes over it, it's here less. By the time it's up here, it's burning for longer. So it's gonna kind of keep the momentum, whereas this is much lighter here. So when I put in the stone, it's going to be a little harder to see. Let's see.
Would a Dremel work to make the channels deeper?
Would a Dremel work to make the channels deeper? Yeah, you could definitely if you're skilled enough. I, however, am not.
You gotta have a steady hand.
You need a steady hand and like some skills. Well, yeah, I mean, you could essentially Dremel or carve the design and not use a laser. And that would be probably the best thing. Now, the other problem is, it's not really a problem, but this is all going to look really rough until I sand it, which obviously I can't sand it in here because we're in a indoor room. But see, I can't even really get the stuff down in that end because it's so shallow. But this is good for you to see. And these are just samples, so a lot of times with designs I'll try them out, sand them up, spray them with clear and see how they look, because that's how it would look on a pen. I don't actually make the pen until I know the design is really good or it looks good. So this is going to be a little high. We're going to let it soak in. So while this one is soaking, here, let's move some of this around. This is the beauty of UV, is I don't have to cure it right away. I can kind of move the stones so that it'll flatten out. And once that resin starts to soak into the wood, it should pull the stones down, unless I just put way too many on, which it kind of looks like I did. So let's move some over here, get some off of there. Let's see, I can move it into the crack. And then once I sand this, and I sand it on the lathe, I don't hand sand it because it would take forever. But once I sand this, it's going to really lay in there just perfectly, and it'll crisp up your lines. Because when you look at it right here, it looks like there's stuff sticking out, which there is, and it's not like flat because it's not. So having it all fixed by the lathe or the sander, if it's flat work, you know, it makes it look really good. Now here you can see there's a couple spots where the stone looks a little thin. I can either move it around or kind of add to it. I don't really need to move it around, but you can kind of see how we're getting there. And I just would have to work this part a little bit to get my stone to flow down here. So whenever you have a spot you like, if it looks good, you want to cure it. But just remember, if you cure it and there's a clear spot with no stone, you really can't go back and add it because it's hard. But you can always do something if you have to, drill it or something. But that looks pretty good. I don't know that I do this large lightning bolt. Uh-oh. That flashlight doesn't seem to be working. I don't know that I do a large lightning bolt like this on a pen because it's so thick, and by the time you wrap it around a little tube, you're not going to have much left. So, let's see here. If this is hard, well, it's kind of hard. That's back to our turtle. See, you can't put enough stuff in there that you block the resin, because that'll keep it from getting solid. And we'd also want to put this out in the sun to make sure it's super hard. Okay. No, not yet. I don't know that we're going to be able to sand it anyway. But let's do a little something here, kind of fun stuff. So we're going to take this red. Oh, good. And we're just going to, I'm going to put a little bit of UV on my paper. Well, I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. So I got a little bit of UV. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just put it into the corners. And this is how I would do a pen if I was doing a Cocapelli and I wanted to do colors. And then I'm going to just pull it in. And here's the thing. In the beginning, oh man, I tried to get every stone in the exact right spot. And then I realized afterwards, like, some will be a little thicker, some will be a little thinner with the color. And it's totally fine. But I just want that little tip of red on there. And I'm not doing that for any reason. Like, I don't know that that's a thing, but just for this demonstration purpose. So I just keep getting a little more resin so that my stones will lay down in there. And the more I do as far as like getting the ones off the surface here and pushing them down in, the better it'll look. And yeah, you'll sand them off and clean them up later, but it'll sure make it easier on you right now to just do a little bit more. But this is red pipestone, I believe, or red coral. This stuff looks really cool in little bits, and I often mix it in with the other colors. So now that I've got that, I'm going to just cure that little bit. So I got the light on it. Try not to hit my drop, which I might. But see, there's just a little bit of red on the edges there. And although it looks like there's a lot of extra resin, there is some, but it's not crazy. Let's see. I don't know that we need to do any others that are like highlighted, but what I like to do with these is I'll take a little bit of the turquoise Sprinkle it on. A little bit of the green malachite. And we'll do like a dash of red, almost like we're putting a little seasoning on it there. And then we'll push these around into the stones. Now, that was probably not enough, but we want to kind of mix them as we go anyway. Yep, we need just a little more. So I'm going to put it over here. And I kind of feel like by doing the little bit of mixing, you get like a more marbled look rather than just one solid color that's kind of on its own. And I do wish I could sand this to show you guys how much different it looks sanded, but you'll get the idea.
I can attest, it does look really crisp when it's sanded.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy. Amy stuck up for me, so we're good. So
if you were sanding it on the lathe, like, where would you start? What would you use?
if I was sanding this on the lathe on a pen tube, I would kind of do what I'm doing, try to keep the excess to a minimum. I'd get all these little stones off or in the channels, because the more you have to sand like high spots, the harder it is for getting it flat without getting craters and things. I'd start at like 220 and see how that does, and then I'd work my way up rather quickly because I don't want to sand holes. Plus, this is all going to be filled in and flat with the UV or the CA. Now, here's an interesting thing, I think. One, I want to pull up the stone to the edges so that the burned edge isn't so predominant. Wait, is that the right word?
People can be what?
Prevalent?
I don't know what you're
Obvious? Or just dominant. So, like, the edges look really dark, like around here and the feet. So I just need a little more stone to kind of make sure that's full. But this one, being that it's a fairly large fill, and once I get this kind of clean, it should be pretty stable as far as like the stones are going to just sit down in it because it's pretty deep. This was a good deep engrave. I would probably flood this one with thin CA. And the reason being is thin CA will get around the stones a lot easier and faster than the UV. Now, we only have UV in here right now, and I'm not going to do CA because in this little room it would really be hard on me and Amy. Oops, that's already open. I need to twist that off. But I'll just kind of show you how this will work. So we're just going to kind of drizzle it, and it'll soak down in there, but it'll take a little bit. But the beauty is I don't have to hurry because it's not going to cure until I hit it with the light. Now I do need to make sure that I have enough room to get the light all the way down. And I kind of laid it on heavy there, and what you'll see is we can kind of just pull the UV around. Try not to hit the stones too much, because it kind of gets a tension on it. But once it starts to soak in, it'll move pretty quickly. But until it gets the dry stuff wet, it's kind of like not, see there? I just pulled all the stone out of it. So what I'll do is push it a little in there with the wet and then push it down. And I can always add more stone because the UV is not cured until it's cured. So I do like the UV the best because I have so much time to work with it and I can move everything around. But if it was a nice deep engrave and a flood coat would be the ticket, then you could certainly use CA.
What's out again?
Out? Like that.
Yeah. As you work, you pull it closer and closer to yourself.
Yeah, we got an odd table set up here.
Alright.
So I'm just adding a couple little stones off the paper just to fill in some dark spots of the engraving. But now that it's all wet, see, I'm touching it all and it's not coming off on my pick at all because the stones are all in the canal with the wet. So I can kind of add stones. Like there's one that needs one right there. But see where it's dark, I can kind of push the stones up so they're not just flat. And
put any glow in there?
oh, and I didn't put any glow in it. Oh man. Now it's not too late. We could put some glow in it for sure. Boy, do we do the yellow, the bright glow. Let's do. Oh, this may be a terrible idea.
Sorry.
Oh, it's not your fault. It's mine. I was like, oh, glow will make it cool. Just for the record, I'm not a huge fan of glow because I think it's kind of overdone a lot. But in the right scenario, glow looks so cool. And when it's not overdone, it looks cool. But what I like about these stones, and you might be able to see it, you might not, is they don't look like glow powder right now. They look like little stones. So when they're not glowing, they still look like something, where glow powder on its own kind of looks weird to me, if that makes sense. So I'm just adding some of these stones to the... But now that's, you know, a couple years ago I did a thing where I showed glow powder in inlays, or in pen inlays, and we did a bunch of tiki heads. Do you remember that, Amy?
Mm-hmm.
And they were all, they were just filled with glow powder, and they looked awesome with glow. Like the tikis really looked cool. So it just depends on the subject. Hit the light real quick, see if this glows at all. No, well, barely. You can kind of see this glows,
You can't really
but
see it.
I don't have a lot in there. Although, if you could see the rest of my table, I've got glow stones everywhere.
We can't. We can only see that one.
No. Okay, so I guess I'd have to add a little more. Plus, maybe it's because the resin is wet and I need to cure it, and the UV will set off the glow, maybe.
But that's okay if it's subtle.
But it is
Sometimes
subtle.
that's
It's going to be subtle.
when it's the best.
Yeah. Or, you know, you could just like really do the head of this, and that'd look kind of cool if it was all glowing. But anyway, this wasn't necessarily a glow one. But let's go ahead and cure it and see. You can see it's kind of where it's going to glow. It's very sporadic. And actually I had it. Oh, see, it's already cured. I'm going to pop it loose. But this still needs to be sanded down.
Oh, you got a lot of glow in there, actually.
Once you cure it, it starts to like glow a little better, I think.
Okay, now I'm going to turn the light out.
Well, you can't see the shape, which is kind of a bummer, but that's good for everybody to see. Like to make it glow the shape, it would have to be kind of the whole thing. But once this is sanded, it'll look nice and crisp. And I think you kind of get the point of how you can use the red or any color to kind of accent it. And maybe you can see the blue and the green. Boy, it is sure hard to get this focused. But it just makes it look like, you know, a marble stone inlay versus just one color that kind of filled the whole thing. So, kind of a cool thing. Now, let's see. This one, I don't think I had enough.
Ray says I usually use glow behind my inlays, and that works well.
Yeah, putting the glow behind definitely is a good way to go. So this one, if you turn off, see now that one you can see the shell.
That.
So that's enough, and even those dots, that's one stone each on those two dots.
That's cool.
And that is kind of what we were more looking for. With the Cocapelli, I just didn't have enough on it.
See, I like that because I like the way it looks in
Yeah. Now in the light, it would look a lot better sanded. But yeah, I had stuck one glowstone in each of those two holes. So you could do that again on the bigger holes, and it really adds to it. But see, that has blue around the glowstone. So once it's sanded, it'll look good because it looks really ugly right now. But it'll look good, and it'll show up the glow really well.
I feel like that would look great on a pen.
It would look good on a pen, especially with the glow. I don't think I can sand this enough. No, it's not worth trying. But you guys get the point. So I'm glad that one at least shows up in the glow because that's how you want it to look. And all I did was place those stones in there, filled in the space, and then went around it with the powder. So once it's sanded, the powder will make it look filled in, and the glow stones will give it that whole look. Now, this is a great one here. Maybe. Maybe. Well, I was hoping that this was enough for size. Oh, we're just gonna go for it, but I don't really want the warehouse. Do you think I? Yeah. Do you? Oh, I just dumped it over. Don't do that. I just made a big mess. Okay. Yeah. If you.
There's masking tape on your workstation, right?
Well, yeah, or something. Or some Scotch tape off that tape thing on the table. So what I want to do is cover the warehouse and then fill in this if I can. Now this one, let's do a little different. Let's kind of fill it in.
We might have packed it up.
So we're just going to kind of flood it here. And again, the only reason I'm flooding it is because I would sand it after the fact. And I would not have to worry about my overflow. I wouldn't normally use Scotch tape, but that's all I got handy. Okay, let's try this now.
Which glow is that?
Oh, this is yellow. I didn't even look, but it's yellow. It's fine.
Right. I was just curious.
So I'm going to kind of try to pack it in there. And I have a better time with my pick. It might take an extra little bit, but it seems to work better for me. Now the only problem with this is because I just dumped the resin in, it's going to kind of be hard to wipe off. But it won't be impossible because we have paper towels. So we may need to kind of start over with the fill. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, that was just too much. So this is already kind of working, although it's super ugly. But that's where the lathe always makes it better, or the sander, whatever kind of thing you're doing. And I wouldn't just dump them like that. I should have taken time to put them in here like I meant to. But on the live stream, you never know what you're going to get. So, anyway. Now we're going to have a lot of stuff in the middle of these letters. So, unfortunately, it's not going to look as good as it will once it's sanded. But it should give us the idea.
We can sand them and post it.
Yeah, we could always post a picture later of it sanded. But I think you guys are getting the idea of stones. It's, you know, there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, I don't know what I'm doing, but there's really, you can do it however works. Once you do an inlay of, you know, like I said, I do the whale I've done quite a bit, and the turtle. Once you've done the inlay and it looks awesome and it's flat and you do a beautiful CA finish on it, like it looks like glass, and it literally looks like you cut a stone out and put it in that wood. So, I mean, it's a cool problem to have, like this messiness, and then you sand it and finish it and put your CA on it, and it looks so good. I've traded that. I know I've traded that whale pen for some really valuable stuff to some people because they requested it, and that's why I first made it, and then I just kept making them.
Chad, tell us about your pick.
Tell us about the pick. So this is just a like from Harbor Freight, a pick set, and I always like to have a pick. My favorite picks are like soldering titanium picks, but the ones I have, I don't know where they got put here in the shop today. So I grabbed this one. It's fine, and actually you probably saw me just now like kind of raking with it. So this back end is kind of handy for this. I've never used it much, but I was kind of just like pulling the stones around with it, and it was kind of nice. So it's just a little pick set. I think these come in a set with some tweezers and other stuff, but I like a pick because my fingers are not very small, and this is good for like detail work. Once you have a little bit of resin on the pick, it'll pick up stones. Like you can touch a stone and pick it up. Maybe that's why it's called a pick, because it picks it up. You can also pick your teeth with this if you want. Your nose, whatever. But see, I can just touch the stuff and put it in there.
Carrie said she packed them for SWAT. That's why you couldn't find them.
Oh, Carrie packed my picks for SWAT, so that's why I couldn't find them. That will happen when you're prepping for an event.
Do you think we have any images of the whale pin?
You know, we do, but I don't know where. Carrie might know where. Carrie, do you know where any whale pen picks are, or the sea turtle? Because we've done both. Here, let's cure this. Now, it's going to be sloppy, remember, because it's all over the place, but it should give you the idea of what we're going for here. Now, we could even fill that in with a little more resin and more glow, like right here. When I have the light on, it's much easier to see where it's missing the glow powder, or the glow stones. These stones are cool.
Ooh, they're so bright.
Yeah, it shows up so much better when there's like a void. This might be the way to do it.
Carrie says she knows where the picks are. Or not the picks, the picks. The other picks. Pictures, picks.
Yeah. I figured she would. Okay. So that's kind of the messy version, right? And then you would seal it and sand it. I'd fill it in with resin or CA. Boy, I can't talk today. Did I tell everybody I got bear sprayed?
No.
Oh, shoot, I forgot. I have a reason why I can't talk today. So, here, turn the light off, Amy. We'll see.
Oh, that looks cool.
So, and you can also see the mess I made here, where I dumped it all over. Do not dump your stuff out on the table. Oh, and look at this blue one. Can you see this blue one? Look at that blue one. Right?
Is that just a little
Here, I'll drop it. I'll drop it in the green. Can you see the blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blue stone. But you get the idea, right? So light. Yeah, that blue shines bright. So it goes from that, which is not that appealing, although once it's sanded, it'll look clean, to the glowing. Okay, I gotta tell everybody I got bear sprayed. So this morning we were loading something up for a customer. Are you on one, Amy? And
Thank you.
and we're loading something up in his Jeep, and he flips the seat forward, and I hear this like it sounded like a compressor leaking, like an air tank leaking. And I didn't think much of it, and I go to lift this box in, and Carrie was on the other end of the box, and I walked up, and I kind of was like, ugh, and I started choking. I thought I had like a heartburn, and I was coughing like like bad. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Because I could feel my throat like closing. And then Carrie and the customer both were like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what is that? You know, something's up. And I turned away, and then after a little bit of investigation of all of us like trying to look in there and then choking and then whatever, we found that when he flipped the seat forward, he hit the bear spray and punctured it, and it like fumigated the whole Jeep. So we got to breathe in bear spray, and it was like a good 10 minutes of all of us standing with all 4 doors open, not near it, and it still was like hard on you. It was pretty rough. So I can attest, if you really want to make a grizzly mad enough to eat you, like spray him with bear spray, because it'll really anger them, I bet. It was rough. And my throat still hurts, so I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it feels like I have been yelling all day, like, ah, and my throat's all scratchy, but I didn't yell all day. It's from the bear spray, because it closed up my throat so bad, and it feels all scratchy.
Carrie said it was spicy.
It was indeed spicy, and it took a long time to like go away. And I don't know if it's because we were outside loading in the heat, but in combination with that, I felt like I was super hot all day because like my head was just pounding and my throat hurt. So, but you guys, you know, I can get bear sprayed, but I'll still do a live stream for you. So don't worry about that. Anyway. All right. I think because of my samples here, I think that's where we're going to call it. Do we have any other questions? Now, this was a really, really overview, not great detailed demonstration, but I hope you see the possibilities. But just know that if you just laser something and then go to make it look awesome, it takes work. So like this was a quick laser, and I would tweak this to make it look awesome. And maybe if I have time next week, I'll do one and show you guys a picture of it done so that you can see the before and after, and I'll put these next to it. And I'll sand this Cocapelli so you can see how crisp it'll look. But just know you got to spend time tweaking your image and your file for engraving to get it the right depth and the right width and then the right proportions to go around a pen. That's the hard part, is just kind of tweaking everything. Once you get it good though, you can repeat it as many times as you want because the file is usable over and over and over again. That being said, like I did a lot of wood boxes in the past where I'd put my name on the top or the bottom or a customer name. And I have done some stone ones that look really cool. So it's not just for pens. It's not just for signs. It's not just for boxes. It's not just for carvings. You can do whatever you want. All these stones and glows and stuff are also great for rings. So if you're already making rings, you kind of got a crossover. If you're not making rings, but you have all this stuff for inlay, you can make rings. So there's a lot of give and take here and a lot of experimenting to do, but hopefully these are just barely good enough that you can kind of see the potential and then want to try. But it just takes a little practice, and then you'll have some really good looking stuff. Couple things.
Jim, who does chip carving, we totally want to see some of his chip carving, especially if he does some inlay.
Hey, Jim, if you're on Facebook, Jim the Chip Carver, if you're on Facebook, would you go to Turner's Warehouse Turning Team and post on that page some of your carvings? We'd love to see them. And if you do inlay on any carvings, that would be super cool to see. If anyone does any of this inlay stuff, like, please post pictures. It's super fun to see because you guys always make really cool stuff.
And secondly, exciting, any of the carving stuff. Like, because we have the big carving tools and we're about to have some more carving tools, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm. Lots of carving going on.
Oh, cool. Jim's going to bring some carvings to SWAT.
Oh, good. Jim's going to SWAT. Excellent.
I can't remember what else I was going to say.
Hey, if you're going to SWAT and you have your shop sticker, bring it so we can trade you out a sticker.
There is no live stream next week because of SWAT.
Yeah, no live stream. We leave on Thursday, so it'd be real tough with Wednesday. We'll be doing our final preps to get packed up to go. No live stream, but we'll probably be back the next week on the live stream. So hang in there for that. There's a couple sale items that started. Amy sent out a newsletter if you want to see that. It's probably on the homepage too.
Yep.
Good stuff.
And the plan is to have a carving video out next Wednesday
Ooh.
in place of the live stream.
Amy said next Wednesday instead of the live stream, because we'll be gone, there'll be a carving video out. Ooh, and it might even, is it bowl carving or general carving?
It's carving by Mike.
It'll be good. Whatever it is, it's good. Mike's so good at carving. He's carved for the Queen of England.
Also, because I don't think he watches our live streams, we're really excited because we got a mallet to gift him.
Yeah. Got a gift for him, but we won't say what it is. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think. Bear in mind, I was bear sprayed today, and I was super hot from being outside working. So if you didn't like this live stream, it's because I was bear sprayed. If you did like it, excellent. Don't worry about the bear spray. But give it a try. Let us know what you think. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you know anybody who's into this stuff, please share it with them because we need more people to watch these. It helps us out a lot. All right. We'll see you at SWAT or around next time.